Welcome to the High Performance Physique Podcast, the official podcast of the Peak Performance Project online coaching program, the world's leading program for driven and ambitious men and women that want to break through societal norms, eradicate the shit cycle, and physically unfuck themselves so they can build a world-class physique, live life in their own terms, and operate on a higher physical and psychological level. We aim to break down the common barriers and beliefs that are inherently possessed within this current climate, and expose new levels of thinking, learning, and progressing with your physique, performance, productivity, and overall life's purpose. This is your host, Lewis, the creator and founder of the Peak Performance Project and the host of the High Performance Physique Podcast. It's time to send it. Let's go. Yes, savages. Hope we are good today. So coming at you from a whole new studio for the podcast. I'm absolutely pumped. We're taking things to the next level this year. And for this first episode back with the new surroundings in which we now have, we're going to be diving into the topic of productivity. And being a coach now for the last 10 years, productivity is probably one of the core components which holds a lot of people back from actually going from good to great on a consistent basis. And one of the core currencies inside the Peak Performance Project is productivity. And when we can look to really maximize a client's productivity across the board, the days, the weeks, the months, the quarters, we can really get the best from them in any given situation. So today, I've got some notes here because I don't want to go off course or kilter, but I want to make sure you guys walk away with some really punchy, actionable tips and tricks that you can put one into your life, maybe into your own training, or maybe into your own routine to get the very best of yourself in any given day. So inside the program, right, we always promise our clients that we are going to get the best from you every single week, the very best. But the only way to do that is to be effective with your time and self-management. And we need to be extremely aware over our own routine, to be honest. Your routine is absolutely everything. And we always want to be one step ahead through diligent planning, time and self-management. And the only way to really do that is to understand what you have at hand, what resources you actually have every single day, what really needs to be done on any single given day. And when we're in flow and we have that energy, that momentum behind us every single day, we can reduce that pressure through smart time and self-management. So as a whole, productivity is the top of the mountain. Look at that, imagine like a pyramid actually. At the top of the pyramid, you've got productivity, and the three pillars in which will hold that up, in my honest opinion, through helping hundreds of guys and girls get in the best shape of their life, we need to understand that effective time and self-management is one of those pillars that holds the pyramid up. And then we have rock solid set routines and boundaries, which is going to be pillar number 2. And then from there we have world-class habits, and that is like the trifecta of fucking success when it comes to productivity as a whole. And what we now need to think of is breaking those down even further, so you guys have bite-sized actionable points that you can actually digest and walk away with this today from this podcast, I should say, and feel really crystal clear on how you can maximize your energy, your time, your boundaries to get the best from yourself every single week. So we'll kick things off with effective time and self-management. The one thing that I've learned over the years, and I've heard this from all the coaches, mentors, boardrooms that I've been in, but you need to bookshelf your fucking days. Okay, bookshelving your days is absolutely critical. And imagine if there was no bookshelf on an actual bookcase, all the books would fall over, okay? And quite a lot of guys and girls in which I work with, their hours bleed into one another. They're constantly distracted, looking for the next dopamine hit. They know your task hopping, jumping between emails to text to social media to maybe even going for lunch, and your brain's very scattered, right? There's no structure, no stability to the flow of what you want your day to look like. But when you bookshelf your days, imagine that holds things together. So the first thing I would like you guys to look at here is your wake and your sleep schedule. When do you actually wake up in the fucking morning? Is that a routine? Is that a standard? Is that something you can actually have set in stone to kick off your day? And then from there, a nighttime schedule. When do you actually go to bed? When do you switch your phone off at night? That's the bookshelf. You got the front and the back end, and that holds everything up. And then that way you can look at how many hours in a given day do I actually have? And from there you scale things back. And that's going to allow you to really start putting the pieces of the jigsaw together, and really start setting better boundaries, identifying where you're losing energy, where you're feeling more energized, when you're eating, when you're training, when you're sleeping, when you're working, when you're walking. Because a lot of people tend to just wake up, scratch their head and think, Right, I know I'm working from 9 to 5 today, but I have no fucking idea what all the other core components of my life are looking like. I'll maybe grab something from Greg's. I'll maybe go a walk. I might go to the gym. I'll probably stay up late tonight because a new episode of something that you fancy watching on telly's on. And again, it's too messy. It's too unstructured. And I'm not trying to be super anal here and say, everything needs to be like drill sergeant material. It's not the military. But in my honest opinion, if you truly want the best from yourself and you want to have great energy, your wake and sleep schedule are the biggest core component that's going to allow you to actually have that. With that being said as well, when we have these systems in place, when you bookshelf your day, it's going to be paramount to understanding that these habitual constraints and boundaries in which you can now put on your day will allow you to identify all the little facets of where you can be more effective with your time and your energy management more than anything else. And inside any given day, it can be super noisy, as I've said before. You got your phone, you got emails, you might not even have it on Do Not Disturb, you might not have any time blockers or limits on your phone from the amount of apps you use in a given day. You binge watch TV, you might go for a midday wank if you're working at home. And believe me, I've been there, I've done that. Hands up, hands are dirty. But we need to look at things from the perspective of where are we wasting our time and energy. And even one of my clients said to me today, my head's up my arse. I said, can you actually articulate how your head is up your fucking arse? Can you do that? Can you actually tell me? And he's like, I don't actually know. I don't know. But all my hours seem to be bleeding into one another. I have no structure, no plan, no discipline, no real drive to be more productive. I just feel a bit burnt out and stressy and messy. And it's like, well, what did you do over the weekend? It's like, stayed up too late, slept in too late, was drinking, was eating food, it was all sporadic. It's like, well, that was probably the first pillar of the dominoes, let's say, that caused that forward cycle of shit, the shit cycle in which we always speak about inside the program. So it's like we've got all these different distractions. We're always chasing dopamine. We're always chasing something that makes us feel good in the moment, especially when life is not super fun all the time. We've got no fun and fulfillment planned. These little things like your phone, TikTok, porn, Instagram, YouTube, all these little things in which you watch are going to steal your energy. And I can tell you right now, if I was to do an audit in your life and we counted up how many hours you spend on your phone, let's say in a given day, compared to working, compared to training, working on yourself, taking actual downtime, king time or queen time for the ladies out there, you're probably on your phone maybe 4, 5, 6 hours a day. My friend that I used to live with, he was on his phone 8 hours a day. That's fucked up. That's fucked up, So we need to have boundaries with our phone, with our emails, with our Netflix, with all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it's going to really suck all our energy. And the thing is with dopamine as well, if you're waking up, let's say, having a coffee, going on your phone straight away, you're going to become less prone to having a big capacity for dopamine. It's going to drain away faster every single day. It's going to drain away, and you're almost going to bottom it out. So you're always chasing the next dopamine hit, the next one. And that's going to be really bad for you, especially when you're given hard, arduous tasks that actually are going to propel your growth, your certainty, your confidence, because you're going to always think, what's the lowest hanging fruit I can grab in a day to make myself better, rather than doing the fucking hard work and leaning against the true purpose behind being a better man, being a better leader, being a better worker, being better in your relationship, for instance, because you're always going to be looking for your phone. That's what gives you the most instant gratification in the moment, rather than doing the fucking hard stuff that allows you to really step up as a person, let's say. So yeah, that's one thing I want to open this podcast with today, because it's so important to identify the gap between the gain when it comes to your individual results with productivity. Because we truly want to get the best from you every single day. So when it comes to effective time and self-management, right, we need to curate our individual decisions based upon our values, okay? Work stressors, certain types of news that we may consume that may cause us to be volatile. We need to mitigate burnout. We need to keep our boundaries in a very good position. And something that I am very prone to doing myself in my own journey when we speak about peak performance is making sure that bookshelf in which I've mentioned right at the start of this intro to the podcast is the first thing we look at. So I know I've just went into a lot of depth about how your day potentially looks, where you're wasting time, wasting energy, wasting money, resources, not really showing up as a man, not really showing up as the person you want to be, a fucking leader. you're just wasting your time and energy all the time. Like, that bookshelf is absolutely fucking everything. That bookshelf is so fucking important when it comes to you having structure. Because once that's there, you can time box everything else in between. And you've got peace, you've got calm, you've got flow, you've got strategy, rather than just that horrible tsunami of shit that, your days just currently look like. It's just bleeding in task to task to task to task, and it's just mind-numbing. It's just mind-numbing, team. So what we now need to look at here, which is, as I said, the pyramid, we go back to that, rock solid, routines, and boundaries. What do I really mean by that? Like, your routines, your habits, your boundaries, they're going to be like the things that protect your energy within a given day. We've looked at the big picture, now we're going to go minutiae. We're going to look at the hour to hour, the day to day, the smaller, more significant things. I was going to say insignificant, but these things are probably more significant because that's actually how you're going to be showing up, right? If you've got boundaries with your phone, you've got set habits to go a walk, to drink the water, to eat the food, to have the meal, to do the training, to switch off. Like, that's the stuff that's really going to come in hand, I should say, when it allows you to show up at your fucking best, okay? You could have the best training program in the world, you could have the best nutrition protocol in the world, but it means fuck all if you can't stick to it. It means absolutely fuck all if you can't stick to it. And that's why having these routines, these habits, these standards in place is going to be super important for allowing you to actually stick to the easy stuff. Because on paper, following a training program, eating the food that you're provided or, planned is simple. It really is. But if you've not got the bandwidth to do it, if you've not got the energy to do it, you ain't going to fucking do it. Because we want to remove as much decision fatigue from a day as possible and not rely on willpower to actually do the things that are going to move the needle forward. The hard stuff, like I mentioned previously. So, similar to the previous point, we need to think with values in mind here. We really need to think values-based decisions. What do we value right now? If you value things like watching porn, like going on your phone, like getting fat, lethargic, lazy, soft, and having man tits and, rubbing your Dorito crumbs in your t-shirt, that's fine. That's what you fucking value, right? But if you don't value that, if you value being lean, strong, athletic, jacked, sexy, being someone who can actually hold themselves to a higher standard, being someone who really wants to lead from the front and be an inspiration to their partner, to their workplace, for themselves, when they, like, man in the mirror test here, guys. Look at yourself in the fucking mirror on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident really are you standing in your pants? If it's any less than a 5, you've got fucking work to do. And your routines, your standards, your high performance habits, they're going to be the things that allow you to fucking do the do, rather than just continue kicking the can down the road. All right? So, we need to make formal decisions every single day. Need to make formal decisions every single day in how we spend our time. And for instance, we can all find time, as I said, to scroll on social media, porn, Netflix, the list goes on. But if you're struggling to find time to go a walk, read, breathe, you're doing it all wrong. You're not making meaningful decisions, and you're not really leaning into the needle-moving tasks that are going to give you the result in which you're looking for. And you're probably feeling distorted, burnout, you're bleeding energy every single day, maybe even hemorrhaging energy every single day, because you spend time doing low-level tasks that are doing nothing for you. If you're not an influencer and you're on social media just doom scrolling your life away rather than producing or creating content that is going to impact you, then you have to have a word with yourself. Because if I went in your phone right now and I went in your Explore page, it's probably big butt chicks, shredded guys, Andrew fucking Tate, and the $1 million lifestyle, and you're just going to compare yourself to this. Compare, and it's going to crush you. It's going to make you feel insignificant, but you go back for more, because that little temporary gap in which you have when you're watching these amazing things in which you now see in social media, that's going to make you feel good for a little fucking second because you believe you'll be able to achieve that, when in reality, you're far fucking from it because you ain't looking after yourself. And that is what is up. That is what is up right now. So what we can utilize here, right, is the frame of time boxing. And this is something that I've developed, not personally, but I've learned to develop it into my own lifestyle when it comes to my tasks. Every single day I've got about 3 or 4 big needle moving tasks, right? And I don't overwhelm myself, because I think a big thing with productivity, guys, is people think, how much can I fit in my to-do list? How much can I destroy myself within a given day to get to the end of this 150 tick list sheet that just makes no sense? You know, when I just got into all this personal development journey, I would set my diary from 6 a.m. to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. I wouldn't have any white space in the diary. And it would even be like things like, message your mum. Why the fuck is that in my diary as a thing to tick? When you have all these things in your diary that don't actually make sense, that are not for you, you're not putting yourself first, they're just for everyone else, you're gonna get bagged up, you're gonna get lethargic, you're gonna feel fatigued just looking at that list. And that's what happened to me. I burnt out massively. If you know any about my backstory, I burnt out so fucking hard that I fell asleep at the wheel, crashed my car, nearly killed myself. I burnt out so fucking hard that I wanted to, you know, break up with my missus that is now my fiance. I burnt out so hard that I wanted to leave the fitness industry. I know exactly what it's like, because I used to be like all of the things I'm describing in this podcast right here, right now. But we need to think time boxing, okay? So let's say you work 9 to 5. You know when your break is, you know when you start, you know when you finish. And then in that given 9 to 5 window, you're going to have things that your boss has provided you to do. But I've worked with CEOs, people that work 9 to 5s, your average Joes all the way to elite level consultants. And they've always got free time, but they waste it doing stupid shit. And the thing is, we need to pull away all the stupid shit that is not serving you. All the things like chasing things up that are just not needed. And when it comes to that day, you probably only have out of that 9-hour day or that 8-hour day, probably only about max 3 hours of deep work, if anything. So think about how much more effective, efficient, how much more momentum you could build if you were just more hands-on with the tasks you now really, really, really need to do that are going to allow you to show up at a better state every single day. Because we want you to be performing at a higher physical and psychological level day to day, but that will not happen if your tasks are bleeding into one another. So time boxing your tasks, getting super clear on what you're doing, when you're doing it, why you're doing it, actually having the reason why you're doing it. And I believe massively in extreme ownership. Extreme ownership is absolutely everything, right? And you might have the best plan in the world, as I said before, the best nutrition, the best this, the best that, but if you're not taking ownership of that, you're not going to really show up and do it. So you need to know why you need to do it and take ownership of that. Otherwise, you're just going to continue on a life of low-level purpose, wasting your energy, wasting your time, and task hopping, spreading yourself too thin, and feeling unfulfilled within the life you're living. So now we can move on to pillar number 3 of the beautiful productivity pyramid, which is world-class habits. With world-class habits, this is when you probably will look at me and think I'm like the Dalai Lama or something with all these beautiful, amazing habits. I'm going to tell you right here, right now, I don't really have that many good habits, right? But I almost say that to counteract what I'm about to explain, because I've only got about 4 habits that I really actually do. I'm not one of these high-performance gurus that claims you need to have an ice bath, go your 10k steps in the morning, drink filtered water with a lemon squeezed in it, you know, do a ashwagandha enema to flush your digestive tract on a morning. I simply don't. I think what is the best way I can start my day, right? And uncommon to popular belief, I'm actually very hesitant to go into these habits, because the fact of having loads of positive habits would maybe put me on a pedestal, and it's not the case. I'm just like you. I'm literally just like you. I work hard every day, but I know what is right for me. I know what is right for me every single day to show up at my best. And it's only a couple of simple things, right? So remember what the mission actually is here. And what we now need to do is expand into the space created for us, okay? For better quality thinking, okay? To remove any thought distortion and to essentially firmly agree on what the game plan really fucking has to be, right? Because if it's in the diary, it's getting fucking done, right? We have duties every single day as men, as women, to tick those boxes and move ourselves forward. And if we're not following through in those duties because we're wasting all the time doing X, Y, Z, there is a massive reason why you're not where you want to be in life. So simply having a baseline morning routine to follow is absolutely critical. And as I said, I'm not going to tell you to do the Wim Hof breathing. I'm going to tell you to do an ice bath. I'm not going to tell you to snort a line of ashwagandha, whatever it is, right? I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm going to tell you my morning routine. And I'm going to break it down because it's going to maybe give you an insight to how simple it can be, right, for you. In running a business right now, running a team, coaching 60 plus clients, time is of the essence for myself personally. I never like to compare myself to anyone else and say I'm busier than you, because I don't know your life. You might have kids, you might have injuries, you might have people to care for, you might have 2 businesses, 100 team members to run. I don't know what it is, right? But I know how important it is for you to be operating at the standard you now need to have amazing energy, protect your energy, improve those boundaries, have better sleep, and show up better for yourself, because that's going to take you to a fucking elite level. You're going to be optimal as fuck, right? And this is the thing. So for me personally, I work about 8-9 hours a day, and it's very deep work. Do not get distracted. I could probably get it done faster, but things pop up and I will just hit them the minute they pop up. And if I can't do them all, they get put in the back burner, right? But I'm going to look at this from the objective of giving you an insight to what my morning routine is here, so you can get a wee grasp of what I really do. So 5:30 in the morning, wake up, rise and grind, walk to the bathroom, I wash my face, simple, cold water in my face, and I put my gym clothes on. They're already laid out from the night before. The best morning routine starts the night before, so the gym clothes are laid out. I already made that decision, I'm going to fucking train. So I'm in that gym, I've got a Barocca, creatine, glass of water between 500 and 700 mLs of water. Straight away I tan that, and I tan it again, and I make sure it's all done, and I have another glass of water and another glass of water, and I probably try get between 1.5 litres to 2 litres of water within the first 30 minutes of waking up, because we are extremely dehydrated, especially if you snore. If you're anything like me, my mouth is open the entire night. I could get that hostage tape, could put nose strips on, but I can't be fucked, right? So I make sure I'm super hydrated in the morning, okay? And then the gym gear's on, I'm hydrated, I've had my vitamin C, I've had my creatine, I have no caffeine at this point, but I'm straight in that gym for 6 o'clock. Over the course of the gym session, I'm training 45 minutes max. I get a sweat, I move the body, I stretch, I train my core, my lower back, my body. I feel good, I feel ready for the day, I energise myself through the training window. And even throughout that training session, I'm drinking more water. Another litre. So by the time I've roughly finished that gym session, it's maybe 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning. I've had 2 litres of water, I've trained, I've got about 1,000 steps in from basic movement. Now I come home, I caffeinate, I have a warm shower, Scottish shower you call this, warm shower, put it on cold at the end just to blast my brain, reduce any inflammation which I may have in my head. I sit down and post content on Instagram, on other social media platforms. That's how I start my morning. I don't journal, really. I'll have that pre-planned the night before. I know exactly what my tasks are for the day. But that window of time in which I make for myself in the morning is super important. That is a ritual in which I now lean against every single day to allow me to show up at my best. Because when you put yourself first, you can serve from a full cup rather than an empty cup. Like all you bedraggled people out there that are currently chasing their tail every day. So once I'm home, as I said, post the content, have the shower, have a cup of coffee. And I eat a protein bar between 5:30 and 1 in the afternoon. And that's the only meal I have, because I just do deep work. So between 5:30 and about 1 o'clock, I've trained, I've worked for about 3 hours, I've moved, I've hydrated, I've ate some protein, and I'm feeling pretty fucking good. And I've done all the heavy lifting, not only physically, but with my work tasks, nice and early. And I know this might not slot into your life. It might not. You might not be able to get up at 5:30 because you're working a night shift or something. But take that on board and think, how easy was that? He had some water, he had his supplements, he worked out, had a coffee, and he had a shower. That's all I do. But a lot of people still don't manage that. But the main thing in all of this is supplementation, hydration, and training. That is it. And those are the big rocks that people miss straight away. And if you can front load the hard shit, in which normally you don't have the bandwidth, the energy for after a 9-hour workday to go to the gym, might be worth training in the fucking morning. Might be worth training in the morning. So the game plan here, right? The idea behind it all, to have an amazing day, is having consistency. A repeatable system and a repeatable on-ramp to your day that allows you to show up with energy, excitement, and start your engine properly. You know, we don't just want a wee crop duster. We want to be fucking fighter jets. We want to be effective and efficient and laser clear on what we need to do in a given day. We want to feel energized, hydrated, and ready to rock, ready to go, ready to move. And that way you can handle life so much better, because your stress capacity and tolerance is going to improve when you lead into these arduous tasks, these hard tasks that are going to grow your character, your conviction, your confidence over time. Because the person who's waking up at 5 a.m, training like a fucking savage, getting ahead of the day, eating the worm or whatever you call it, I'm going to tell you, they're probably a lot more stress resilient than someone who rolls out of bed, rams a coffee down their throat, grabs a crumpet and jam, and gets battered at work with emails for 9 hours a day. Believe me. And I know that for certain. So, less stress, better time management, no more chasing your tail. Can be as easy as all of that. So team, that concludes today's episode on productivity. Make sure you come back next week for the following episode. It's going to be absolutely banging. If you'd like to let me know what you took from this podcast and what you're going to implement, that'd be fantastic. I appreciate you hanging about for the time being. It's been amazing you having here, and I'll see you on the next one.